Same thing like as far as equipment, shoes for deadlift. You want to be as close as possible to the floor. And guys, fellow coaches, please just jump in if you have another opinion about it as well. You want something that's going to allow you to feel like you're locked in, like you're stuck. I use wrestling shoes. Some other people use slippers. You got to find what works for you. But the key is to remember you want something that's going to be flat, something that's going to get you as closest to the floor as possible. And also, like for instance, the reason why I like wrestling shoes is because once the fact I also feel locked into place, I also feel like I can push my toes against the outside of the shoe, which allows me to feel like I have a little bit more leverage when I'm coming up, you know, from that deadlift. Single ply deadlift suits, love them. Like I said, once again, if you know someone who has one, please try it first. Try it first before you spend the money, and then you have to worry about getting it tailored to you, because you got to make sure it's going to work for you. Don't give up on it. I have to say that. Please don't give up. The first time you put it on, you may not like it. I'm just going to be honest with you. But I promise if you take the time to break it in and you really learn how to use it, you have a coach who knows how to use equipment, they will teach you, and trust me, you will see the difference. I love deadlift suits. I use one. Let's see. As far as accessory work, there's so many things you can do. The most popular are the deficit deadlifts. You can either do them, actually one way to simulate it is using 35 plates instead of 45s because it gets you closer to the ground and actually has you up higher, or putting it on blocks or bars, whatever's going to elevate it. I like band deadlifts too. It's a matter of you getting creative with the setup, and also chains. The reason why I love bands, and my friends will tell you this, I say it all the time, I love bands because it is constant tension. It is not forgiving. If you are not right when you're lifting, it will quickly tell you that you're not right. You will not finish the lift. It's going to suck. And I guess that's pretty much it. After like these.
Tell us about your band setup. What are some of the creative ways?
Well, you can always put it, like you can set the band underneath your feet and lock on the sides. That's one way if you don't have a power rack. Ideally, if you have a power rack, I usually, like when I go in the gym, I'll try and see if there's space underneath the bottom of the rack. Also, of course, making sure that it's actually bolted in, because there have been times when people have done that and not checked, because believe me, you will generate enough tension that you can actually lift that rack down if it's not bolted in. And I'll loop it underneath the rack, because it's all about just making sure it's secure. But if most times you're not going to be able to actually have a power rack, or you're not going to have a deadlift platform which has hooks, so you can hook the bands in over the top, that's another thing you'll see. The only other option for you then at that point is to be able to wedge it around the sides and put your feet underneath it, because the tension of your body pushing down on it versus pulling up the weight, it'll actually hold it in place. The tension from actually lifting the bar. So. Anybody?
If you're super luxury and you have the little shorty ones too.
Ooh, yeah.
You just slide
the mini
on the
bands.
bar before you put the plates on and then step in.
Yeah, the mini bands. Yeah.
Kimberly, how the heck do you get 550 pounds up off the ground?
Man, I don't even know. I try not to think about it too much, because then I feel like I'll become more analytical about it, and then I may not be able to do it, so I just block it out. I just tell myself I got to do it.
So give us an example of your progression. You didn't just get to 550 pounds.
No, I started weightlifting when I was 13, when I was in high school, and I was a sprinter. Coach said that he wanted us to be not only fast but strong. I never stopped weightlifting. I've always maintained some type of weightlifting regiment because of the sports I've played. I've ran track, cross country, I've played football, basketball. So I've always, strength, conditioning has always been a part of my life. And just when I think it was just a matter of all those years of playing that it just it just worked out that when I actually started powerlifting, because I had built such a strong base for lifting since, well, I was 13, so I probably started powerlifting when I was 21. So you do the math. I had a strong enough base that I just worked from there. The other thing is that I didn't know that there was a difference between straight leg and conventional and sumo. So for the first 10 years of me lifting, I did straight leg deadlifts. And I think hence that's the reason why also I'm such a high puller, is because that's all I knew was straight leg deadlifts. And actually my first competition, I pulled 402. So I did it for 2 reps because I didn't know you're only supposed to do 1 rep. And they had to tell me to put it down. But, and then just basically with every cycle is going to be different. It's just little tweaks because you end up at the end of a cycle, you talk with your coach, you assess your performance from that last competition or that last cycle, and you're like, these are things I need to improve on. These are things I know that worked. These are things I think we should incorporate. And ideally, you should be able to increase a little bit with each cycle. You're not going to, there are going to be some cycles where you're going to feel like you're being stagnant, you're not making progress, but it just means it's just a matter of you going back and speaking with your coach and figure out what do I need to change in my program to be able to adapt so that my body can continue to adapt to this weight and I can continue to get stronger. Another thing is, like I said, as I've gotten older, I've paid more attention to the fact that when something doesn't feel right, stop. When you feel tired and like you said, you've had a crappy day, maybe you shouldn't go as heavy at the gym. You just have to learn to pay attention, and it really does make a difference. All right, so let's have some fun. Let's do some deadlifts.
I was really only hoping to have 1 or 2 takeaways. So I have never really been coached before. I've had trainers and it hasn't really been that helpful. And so that's why I'm here. To be honest with you, even within the first hour, it became completely worth it that I was here because well, first Otis actually worked on me and fixed something that was wrong with me, which was great. But also just to have some slight tweaks and cues on my squat, which I've always felt pretty confident about. But these slight little tweaks, I think, are going to make a huge difference in actually seeing some gains. Well, my goal is to just put it in practice and see how it works. I have other long-term goals in terms of my next competition in October, and really that's bench related, so I guess we'll have to see what the rest of the day brings. It's really quite fantastic, and this is not just related to the camp. Women and men, actually, in powerlifting in general, are all very supportive of each other, and I think that comes back to the individual nature of the sport. Because we're all looking to see each other succeed, not fail. To just do it. You know, because the friend that I brought with me today is is a beginner, and I've been lifting for about 4 years. And there's obviously people here who have competed on a world level, and there's obviously something that everyone can take away from this. It's not about level, it's just about what you're going to make of the day.
Well, you made it. You made it. And it's not just the end of your journey in this. Obviously, you know, many of you have been doing this for a long, long time. And I think you did a good job at the 2 things that I was kind of bringing to top of mind as we started off. The first one was celebrate this passionate relationship that you have with the iron and with each other. And I think we saw that in different parts over the course of the day. And if you didn't get to see it in entirety, of course, you know, we had the privilege of being photographed by Harnick and then video taped by these 2 guys. So you'll be able to go back and hopefully relive some of this stuff and watch it before training, or watch it before you compete, or whatever, however you want to use it. But please use the information and use it to motivate and continue to encourage yourself. And the second thing I had asked you to do was to learn, and in order to learn, to be coachable today. And how many of you today had an experience where you thought that maybe something that was pointed out to you was not what you had expected it to be pointed out? Like, did anyone have that happen to them today? Many times, okay, not just once, many times, okay. And then what about the reverse? Something that you thought that maybe was an issue actually wasn't, and you could actually use it as a strength. And that happened to a few of you. Perfect, good. Because sometimes, I mean, we can't see that within ourselves. That's why we have to go to the coaches. We have to go to those people that was shared with us earlier today that have actually been in the trenches, that have done this. And so we gotta seek them out, we gotta find them. And so what I encourage you to talk to these coaches. Don't leave here today without taking the opportunity to find out how they might be able to help you more, okay? And they can, and even despite distances, right? This is kind of another Iron Sisters sort of underlying piece to Iron Sisters, is that we don't have to be isolated anymore, right? We can if we want to. We can train on our own if we want to. Many of us do, right? Like Jessica says, don't unrack for me because I train bench on my own. I want to unrack. Well, there's value in that, and that's cool, right? But come together with your community, whatever that is. Reach out. Get a coach. Get coaches that can teach you what it is that you need to learn, because they know what this lifting stuff is all about. Okay, and I know that Kimberly wants to share some of this also with you, and so I want to just first off, before we do the full unwrap with Kimberly, I want to take an opportunity just to acknowledge everyone who was involved in this event, and I want you to thank them. But hold your applause for the end. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask each person to stand up. Yarrow's already standing up in the back. So Token Guy Junior, first competition in August. So we're gonna just in a second here we'll cheer for Yarrow. I want Otis, please, to stand up, who dedicates a huge amount of his time, not only in competitions, and he's traveled now to nationals and world competitions. North Americans is now on his list, and feel really privileged that he was able to come out today and spend all this time working hands-on, and I know that you all took advantage of that. Mark, I know you never like to be kind of pointed out and singled out, but stand up, yeah, show off that stellar physique. Okay, again, as I said at the beginning of the day, when you have that wealth of experience, you got to tap into it. You got to ask questions, and if we're not asking questions of those people that have that experience, then we're not going to give ourselves the opportunity to learn and grow. Harnick, who is also here, I should just call him out again one more time because he didn't have to come today. He has a passion for the sport. He has a passion for the history of the sport as well, and so I think he gave me some ideas with some things that I want to be able to do so we can continue to share part of that history. Somebody who wasn't here today that hopefully we'll bring out to another Iron Sisters event. Mark introduced me to Callie Parsons, Bogias is her last name, and she was two-time world champion, Canadian woman who's a two-time world champion and best lifter at a world's meet back in the early 80s. She's someone that we as Iron Sisters and brothers need to know about and celebrate. And then I'm just going to ask Dundas Valley Power gals. Joe, you're standing already. Linda, stand up, because and Aaron, you stand up too, because you're part of the vision. Okay, Chrissy, you can stand up too, because you know what? Because you came on board, and you're coming back, and you're going to do this again, and it's awesome to see your progress between this time last year and now. Is Joe standing up? Oh, she's standing up. All right, and you know what? For all of you who aren't standing, I want you all to stand up, because without you, oh, geez, Sarah and Paul, geez, I forget these guys over in the corner over here. Stand up first, because you guys are invaluable in your own community, and now you've branched out, you've taken the time to come out and share and continue to share, and I hope you guys keep doing what you're doing, because awesome things are coming out of Ottawa and benefiting Canada and the world. So everybody else stand up. And I want you to come right in the center here.
We're going to do a team hug?
Okay, and I want to just call in this little Kimberly Walford to come right here. Come right over here. Get over here. Yeah. Everybody get right in. Nice and close, nice and tight. Nice and close, nice and tight. That's it. Come on, right in.
Don't be shy.
This is like you remember team sports where you like do your huddle? Right? Okay? This is kind of a Dundas Valley. This is kind of a, come on boys. This is kind of a Dundas Valley Power thing. So, you know what? We need a potato in this. A potato? All right. So, I want you to remember this, okay? Take this back to wherever it is that you're going, all right? Take the strength back, take everything that you learned, take the love back, whatever you want to call it, all right? Because this is what it's about right here. It's my basketball coach and just incredible mentor when I was in high school said, a long time after you've forgotten the scores, you'll remember the people. Mm-hmm. And this is what it's about.
You can cry.
Yeah. All right.
And thank you, Francis, for hosting and organizing.
wanted to say I'm thankful for being here, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to share with all the rest of the coaches and enjoy these experiences with you. You said it all. I'm good. All right. I'm right. Thank you.
All right, gals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I came primarily, firstly, because Frances is a dear friend, and her and I and Joe schemed about this about a year ago. So our scheming has resulted in this day, and Frances put a lot of hard work into it. But most importantly, I know that it's important for women to get together to understand that we all have the same strengths within us. They just may be at different levels. So what is really cool today is seeing women who are new to the sport, or maybe younger lifters, maybe not necessarily younger in age, but younger in lifting age, being able to be around and ask questions with lifters who are more experienced, who have more meets under their belt, who have higher numbers or are stronger physically, and yet we all have the same fears. It doesn't matter if our lifts are, a lot lighter or a lot heavier. We still all think the same things. We still approach the bar with the same thoughts in our head, and it's a very leveling sport. So I was actually in almost a few little moments of tears and a few times watching the interaction going on, and knowing every person in this room, every person under the tent today, and knowing quite a few of their stories personally, and to be able to see this interaction has just been a great personal experience already. You have to get past your own fear. So as you do that step by step, you begin to believe in yourself more and more. And with that confidence, it comes confidence under the bar, but it becomes confidence in life that you have. It's almost necessary to fail in this sport, because you can't get really better unless you start, that slips, that moves, that didn't go right. And so you can either give up and walk away, but there's something about the iron that makes you come back. And I can do that. I can just do a little bit better. And when you start doing that, you will do better in your life in general. And that's just not, it sounds so trite to say something like that, but it's not, because I've seen it, I have experienced it, and I've seen it happen with every single woman that I encounter. And I just want to be able to say, come here, come to this place, do this thing, and I will see that blossom inside you. It's inevitable. We love this sport. I can already feel the, I guess, even as we talk about strength, the strength from the other women coming into me. And there's been some techniques that I've already said, do this, do that. And I'm like, oh, that felt better. That felt different. And there'll be more to come yet today. So I'm excited to see how that will transform itself in my lifting in weeks to come. But the relationships made today, and the inner workings of, I never met that person before, but that person knows that person. That's why she's here today. And we were all meant to be here today. So it's maybe not so much even what's happening right now. It's probably what's going to happen. It's this ripple effect that's going to happen today in everybody's lives, but how we will all ultimately be entwined to this day. That's very cool. And this can only grow. I mean, because you just want to expand it more, because like I said before, there's more women that you want to bring into this, not just for the sport, but for themselves. So today is just the penny in the pond. You got to take the risk. If there's any little light in your head that goes, oh, maybe, do it. Take that risk. You won't be sorry. When people step into the sport, and when they step into this place of Frances's in particularly, anything that Frances builds, I've always said, you walk through those doors and your life will be changed. And I've not encountered a person that has come here whose life has not been changed in some way. And that involves the sport of iron. So if you are lucky enough to find the people who you're meant to be with, and you will in this sport, you can't help but grow. You got to take the risk. It's a risk. Everything in life's a risk. Do it. Just do it. Just do it. Come and join us. These people and this community have changed my life. So in a lot of ways, we have this shell that we show the world, and people can look at that person and go, oh, you know, she's very confident, she's not confident, she thinks she's all that. There's, you know, we perceive people. But this sport and this group, it strips away all of that maybe socialization or ego or whatever, and we're all level. So everybody welcomes you. And it doesn't matter if all you can do is lift the bar. Everybody knows what effort it took to have enough courage to even begin to try and do that. So there's nothing but respect. With every single kilo, there's nothing but respect. It just grows and grows and grows. And when you crash, as we will all crash, this whole community is there to lift you up again. And I have never encountered such an incredible group of people in my life. So if I can be one small part of that and help grow that in any way, then that is certainly one of my life's purposes, because I believe in it that strongly. It's changed me, and it will continue to change me.